If the World Cup were to start tomorrow, which team would be in with a shot of winning it after what you've seen?
With a shot of winning it? About guarantee 100% winning it, Italy. They seem to be unbeaten in like 1,000 matches or something like that. Something ridiculous. Here's the thing about Italy. There's a certain structure and way to play. They know who they are. They know the talent that they have available. They're not searching for answers anywhere. Other teams may be searching for answers. No, they got all their answers they needed to have in the Euros, and now they just carry that momentum on to Qatar. That's right now. It may change next week, but that's right now.
You weren't worried with a few of those little draws in that international break from them?
Did you not hear the part in which I said they were unbeaten in like 1,000 matches? Was that not clear enough? No, I don't think. Here's the thing with Italy. You just don't. You're trying to search for reasons as to why they're not going to win it, rather than what you're doing with other teams. Other teams, you're trying to figure out why are they going to win it. In the case of Italy, you sort of have to take it away from them in that they're the favorites going in.
Jurgen, I hear you laughing there. Are you agreeing that it's Italy too, or do you have another team in mind?
No, I totally agree with Ale. No, I mean, obviously I was at the Euros. I watched them several games at the stadium, and I mean, it's a different Italy that we've seen the last couple of months, or since Roberto Mancini took over, really. It's fun to watch. I mean, they are proactive, they're aggressive, they're playing a high pressure here and there. It's not anymore the Italy that we are used to, that sits back, waits for a mistake from the opponent, and they kill you off. It's a totally different Italian side, and it's so much fun, really so much fun to watch them. So if there's one team to name right now as the favorites for the World Cup in Qatar, it's definitely Italy.
Do you know what else is fun? When you guys actually have a difference of opinion. So,
Okay.
Ian, please help us out. You're not going to say Italy too, are you?
No, I'm not actually, because I thought the best team at the European Championships weren't Italy. I thought the best team was Spain. I thought they outplayed Italy for a lot of the game in the semi-final. It went to penalties. That can always go either way. So I think Spain are very, very dangerous. I like Luis Enrique as the coach. I think he's got them going the right way. I think they might be even better. Pedri will be another year older, playing in midfield, brilliant youngster. They've got a lot of talent there. I like the way they play. So they could win the World Cup, I think. Italy obviously are dangerous. I think England are as well. England were held against Poland last night, but they're a mighty hard team to beat, and they've got the goal power of Harry Kane, and they will have exactly the same team, I think, at the World Cup. So they're dangerous, but so are Brazil, so are Argentina, as usual. Germany might have a bit of a comeback, but if you ask me to say, have a bet on one team now, I'd go Spain.
Oh, no mention of France there.
Well, just one quick question.
Okay.
The premise when you came in was, after having seen what we saw in the matches, right? The qualification matches that this past week, just the last 10 days, right? Didn't Spain just lose to Sweden? Did I imagine that? No, they did lose to Sweden. And guess what? We saw the same struggles from Spain that we saw in the Euros. They still don't have an answer as to who's going to score the goals for them with consistency. It was only a couple of months ago that we were having the conversation about, is Morata the guy? Well, Morata's still the guy. It's still Gerard Moreno. And as good a players as they may be, they are not elite level strikers. They are not. They're good players, they're serviceable players, but they are not the sort of players that are going to win you a tournament. And Spain still has to answer that question. And up until they answer the question as to where are the goals going to come from with consistency, they're going to be a great team to watch in terms of the possession, but then they're going to get to the final third, and then the options and creativity are going to run out for them, because they do not have those sort of players. They have the possession, they don't have the productivity.
Jurgen, what about the defending World Cup champions, France?
Yeah, you always have to mention them. Like Ian said, you gotta go a little bit up and down the list. On the list, obviously, there's Italy, Spain, there's England, there's Germany with a new approach now under Hansi Flick. And then there are always the powerhouses from South America. I mean, there's no doubt about it. When you talk about Brazil and Argentina, you always name them among the favorites, and that's their own expectations. They go to a World Cup with their single expectations to win the World Cup. There is no, we want to make the quarterfinals or the semifinals. No, they clearly define their goal, automatically because of the history that they have to go to a World Cup and win it. And that's maybe a little bit the difference to England. And I saw England several times during the Euros, and obviously they played a great European Championship. but they never really define themselves with the maximum of the goal and saying clearly and speak it out loud, we want to win this thing, we want to win this tournament, and they maybe have to ask themselves why they came short then in the final against Italy, especially then from the second half on, where they backed off and that let Italy basically back into the game and didn't have the courage to continue the same way they played in the first half. So it will be super interesting to see now how they transition over the next 15 months into Qatar.
Ian, has everyone given up on Belgium and this golden generation?
Yeah, I think really their chance has been and gone. I mean, good players, and Romelu Lukaku's always going to score goals. But if they were going to win a championship, I think it would have been the last World Cup. They got to the semi-finals. They lost that against France. Header from a corner. I think it was Umtiti, who's now out of favour, of course, at Barcelona. And they came a cropper again here. So I think, the defenders are getting older. They're not going to be as good as they were before. So no Belgium for me, and no France, because you never really know quite what you're going to get from France. They either win the thing or they blow out quite spectacularly. At the moment, they just look a little bit less than the sum of their parts.
Could it be one of the most wide-open World Cups we're going to see? When you think of all the outside factors as well, it's going to be played at a different time. It's going to be played in very high temperatures.
Honorable mention. I'll throw out a team that maybe people may think something about them or not, about the Netherlands. And the reason I mention them is simply because from the teams that we just saw over the last 10 days, they seem to be the one that really took a step forward. Underwhelming performance against Norway, they tie that game 1-1. And then they go and play Montenegro at home, and they destroy Montenegro. And you think, okay, but it was Montenegro, so we don't really know. And then they play Turkey at home when Turkey was first in the group at that time. And they took them apart. And you almost think, okay, look at Memphis Depay. Look at Memphis Depay, that is no longer the player that is a lot of flash but little substance. A lot of substance to his game now, a lot of productivity, a lot of consistency in his play. So he's got all the flicks and the tricks and the thing and this, and it's all cute. But then there's goals behind it as well. And you see the middle of midfield for them, and Frankie de Jong is there, and Jorginho Wijnaldum is there, and then you see the back line, and Matthias de Ligt is there, and you start looking at a team that has a lot of balance and a lot of good pieces in key places on the field. So, honorable mention, don't think they're going to win it, but maybe in a wide-open tournament, like you just mentioned, they may just have a chance.
Jurgen, you've won the World Cup. How far in advance does the team have to be playing well when you're going into that tournament? Or does it all just completely change once you get there anyway?
Well, it could be either way. Obviously, you can have a team that grew kind of together over a longer stretch of time. And then really, like, I think it happened a bit to Germany in 2014. That team evolved from 2006 to then South Africa 2010. Into that kind of final piece of 2014 with players like Philipp Lahm and Bastian Schweinsteiger and others. So that was a longer kind of stretch, and it gave them the confidence and also the bite and the hunger to make it all happen in Brazil. But it could go also the other way around, where you are kind of struggling maybe throughout the qualifying campaign, and you go through a roller coaster there. You're not happy with yourself. And suddenly, it all kind of comes together at the tournament. The group kind of melts and they really kind of stick together and build an amazing amount of energy. And you suddenly win that tournament as well. I mean, that happened to me with the European Championship in '96 and in England, where we were not the best team, but we had an amazing chemistry and an incredible hunger. And were able to suffer throughout the tournament to win it at the end of the day, even if there were better teams at that tournament at that time. So it could go either way. And that's maybe also a little bit of a hint to what the United States will go through the next 15 months, with all these youngsters and then, defining that spine that we talked about it, with the more experienced players, they will go through those up and downs. And then suddenly, once they're qualified, it's like you turn the page. It starts a whole new chapter when the tournament comes along, and you can make things happen.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.